She said, I'll tell you a story about me today. My name is Dante Renatus, the person with the most turbulent life in the history of this whole empire. A story that's related to an emperor. I was abandoned. My father was originally the crown prince, but he didn't want to take responsibility for me. Finally, my mother abandoned me in a city far, far away. And I grew up with beggars who were of my age, lived with prostitutes and wanderers in the city. I had to pick up the leftover food that people threw away to eat. As I grew older, I started to steal stuff from the market. I lived a miserable life like that. After I turned 12, my life turned over to a new page. You come here every day. The man said, would you like to learn swordsmanship? Dante replied, but I don't have any money. The man replied, I know that. But hey, I'll let you try once. If you do well, then I'll take you in as my student for free. Dante thinks Professor Rowe was clearly joking. To end the joke, I'll surprise him with my talent. The man tapped his shoulder and said, this kid, did you learn swordsmanship from me or something? Dante thinks I realized then. Finally this damn life is about to end. The man said, what's your name? Dante replied, I don't have a name. The man said, then from now on, I'll call you Dant. If someone asks you, who's your teacher? Then just say my name. From that day, I became Professor Rowe's adopted child. He tried to teach me everything, and I learned it with all my heart. But it's not like what you think. In reality, practice days were like torture. But I didn't run away, I tried my best to bear it all. It was better to suffer this mistreatment than being starved. And when I was 19, Professor Rowe passed away. Of course, his assets went to his real kids, not a cent was left for me. Such a cold heart. I was the one who took care of him during his last years. After that, I set a goal for myself. It was to earn money, and there was an announcement for recruitment of people to join the sword fight. A soldier said, get in line. Women said, hey, don't push. Fill your name in. Dante thinks my life, money is the best. With my determination, I received some awards in the fight. I hunted many beasts and got the reward money. I joined the mercenary to fight in wars and had many achievements. Especially after dealing with the demonic dragon, Krusek, I was even more famous than the hero. In the crowd a man said, this land's best swordsman, Dante. Please sign for me. Please shake my hand. Let's get married. Another man said, please work for us dash. We'll triple the price for anyone who pays you best. Please get married to my son and inherit our land. Another man said, what? You don't like ugly men? Dante thinks that was just something that I did to live by. Now everyone knows me. Compared to my age, why don't I build a nation for my own? Maybe I wasn't the only one who thought that. When I was 23, the emperor called for me. Right, the person in front of me was my father. The emperor said, my daughter, I'll allow you to have the name Renatus. Join the family. Dante thinks I had the family bequest with me, so my identity was exposed. It was also due to my greed to make money. Damn it, I should have gotten rid of it. Dante said, how about the reward? The emperor said, what? Dante thinks my father was an irresponsible man, he had 10 children. It was quantitative, not qualitative, so he was really stressed over it. Dante said many people want me to work for them, but their attitudes don't seem like they want to eat me up alive. The emperor shouted, what? Dante thinks so when he found out I was his daughter, he was surprised like that. The daughter that he abandoned years ago had become the land's hero, so there should be some kind of reward for me. The emperor shouted again, you. Don't you know what an honor it is to become a member of this family? Dante replied, I don't want to know, so are you going to give me anything? The emperor said, what do you want? Dante said, I'm not sure whether or not I should call you father or emperor. I don't care about that title. Let's see, I want some land, and a mansion of my own. And 10 million gold bars. 10 horses, and the permission to manage the soldiers. And the emperor said, there's more? Dante said, since your majesty is my father, I should at least make something out of it. Should the family crumble to ashes, I'll lend you my name. My lovely father, don't you find it reasonable? Dante thinks I still can't forget his expression then. He was cursing me. The Emperor said Gr. Great. I accept it. Dante thinks he knows his place. Dante said fine. I'll let you use my fame. And so the agreement was made like that. Of course, it was written in the history books. Even if he declined, I had nothing to feel sorry for. But he had much more to lose as the Emperor that was losing his subordinates' trust. I suddenly realized that I belonged to the Renatus family, a family known for swordsmanship, and I was also the land's best swordsman. You can't miss out on something as dramatic as this. I tried to live a comfortable life, not having to worry about what to eat like before. My half-siblings came to bother me every day. I refused to be the heir, just so I could live a peaceful life, with no one trying to stab me in the back. So I'll become the Emperor myself. Which means, a wandering kid who had nothing overcame everything to become the Emperor and lived happily, a fairy tale that ended like that. If it's made into a book, I'm sure it'd sell well. Though I died at the age of 30, I lived a happy life. Every moment was intense and I tried my best. I had lots of experience and had everything I wanted. I'm not sure I can have that kind of life again even if I'm reincarnated. It's nothing special. Everything's white, like nothing. 500 years later, I was reborn with glistening silver hair and blue eyes. The precious smallest daughter of Duke Pereska, who was loved by everyone. My name is Helena Pereska. I even remember the memories from my past life. Aish, it's driving me crazy, she thinks. You look all grown up. During the 10 years of my reincarnation, these are the words that I hear most often. I'm calmer than my peers, so I don't really cause any trouble. I learn how to read and how to ride horses by myself, and I can also solve small problems easily. I'm the family's pride, even though Helena said there's nothing interesting in this life. Everything's boring to me, nothing fascinates me, such boredom. Helena's father. Helena's mother. Her father said, can a child like this utter such words? Helena replied, but it's the truth. Her father said, what? There must be interesting things, right? You just need to look further. Her mother said, your father is right. If you want to do anything, just say it. We'll help you. Helena smiled faintly, thinking the care and love that I receive from these two are totally different from my parents in my past life. I'm still not familiar with it. I can take care of myself, so you don't need to worry, you'll only be disappointed. Her mother said it's still too soon to give up on life. Helena, you have a whole future ahead of you. Her father said, that's right, Helena. Life awaits you. Helena thinks that's right, Helena. Life awaits you. She said, sure, I'll try to find my purpose in life. Her father said, that's right. Tell me if you can find anything, Helena. Her mother said, come to mother if you have any difficulty, okay. Helena thinks they won't stop worrying just like this. There's no other way. I really worked hard in my past life. But now I have to live it all over again, so it's understandable that I find everything boring. Helena fell to the ground and shouted, Hayes. She thinks I wonder how things will turn out. Why was I reincarnated? 2 days later, in the afternoon, a boy said, so you're trying to find something interesting? Leonard Pereska, 13 years old. Helena replied, I'm just pretending to. Leonard said, don't you even have the motivation? Helena replied, well, yeah. Leonard said, oh my, I won't let it be. I'll be responsible for you till you become an old lady. Helena said, wow, someone I can rely on. Helena thinks he's really confident for his age. How cute. Indeed, this family's forte isn't finance or power, it's Leonard's cuteness. My brother's the cutest person in this world. Helena said, but brother, what's that black thing? Leonard said, oh, that? I have swordsmanship class later. Swordsmanship class? Leonard said, yeah, father introduced it to me, since he came from a really popular school in the capital. Helena said, is it fun? Helena thinks, is it time for Leonard to take swordsmanship classes already? Leonard replied, I'm not sure what you mean. Helena thinks, why? Leonard isn't a slow kid, he's always trying to learn things by himself. Helena said, how much have you learned? Leonard said, let's see, it's a bit. The teacher said I need to do some self-study, so I kept practicing from the beginning. Helena thinks teaching a beginner kid who doesn't even know the basics? What a strange method. Time has changed, isn't that too stubborn? I must go see who it is. Helena said, brother, can I join you in the class today? Leonard said, of course, Helena. She thinks in the afternoon, at the hall on the second floor. Helena said, you seem to look forward to the class. Leonard said, nope, it's rare that you find interest in anything, right? Helena said, HMP, me? Leonard replied, if you're interested in swordsmanship, let's learn it together. It should be fun. She thinks so am I. He totally misunderstood me. She clenched the sword and thought it's a shame, but I hate swordsmanship the most. I'm sick of that black color now. I came here because brother is cute, and I wanted to see who's his teacher. Helena said, you came with an adorable lady today. Leonard said, hello? Helena looked at the teacher and thought, let's see who's the fraud. I'll teach him a lesson for messing with my brother. The teacher said, I'm the swordsmanship teacher. Vitur. Leonard said, teacher, this is my sister. She said she wanted to join today. She thinks I really have no impression whatsoever. Teacher. Vitur said, oh-ho? Is that so? Helena thinks whether or not he's a fraud, I want to scold him. Hold it in, Dante Renatus. No, wait, Helena. She replied, I'm Helena Pereska, nice to meet you. Vitur said, you can look around all you want, but if you're interested in swordsmanship, then I don't support it. Helena said, what? She thinks, what's this again? Vitur said, it's very dangerous, milady. This may sound cruel, but black doesn't suit you. Helena replied, I don't think you know the Emperor, Dante Renatus? Vitur shouted, oh my, that's a special case. Dante's like a mutant. And is it even a real achievement? I think it was boasted a little bit. Wow, I'm complimenting the Emperor. Helena walked forward and thought, oh my, would you look at this? This guy dares to comment on my hard work? I don't want to get mad at the kid who was born 500 years later. Vitur cleaned the sword and said, so you shouldn't mind too much. Swordsmanship is for men. Helena looked at him and thought, how can I hit him to ease my anger? Leonard shouted, teacher, it's none of your business what Helena's into. Vitur said, what? Helena thinks so, my cute brother. Indeed, you're the best thing about this family. So cute. Great job. Vitur said, the Duke seems full of confidence. Is it because your sister is here? Can you feel the power? If you want to talk back, beat me. Just once. Then we should stop the chit-chat and let's start the class, shall we? There's a long road ahead, we can't mess around like this. Helena thinks, so my, such nonsense. Should a teacher say those things to a new student? What's more, it's not anyone else. Is it embarrassing that my brother will take responsibility for me until I grow old? I can't forgive that. Leonard took the sword and faced Vitur. She thinks, that jerk, what should I do? Helena saw them and thought, damn it to hell, that bastard really needs to be taught a lesson right away. What should I do now? A battle in which Renatus' self-esteem has been harshly trampled on. A battle in which victory only belongs to the instructor, but the disciple. Leonard fell to the ground and shouted, arg. Vitur said, please get up quickly, your grace. What a pity you got your leg tangled up with the other and fell down in such a pathetic way. Don't you know that young lady is watching us? Leonard looked at him with angry eyes. Helena thought, that damn teacher, you are trying to play a trick on Renatus, aren't you? At first glance, he may come across as a very dedicated teacher who is putting all his passion into guiding his poor little student. Vitur said, come on, try harder. Helena watched the fight and thought, but it certainly can't deceive me. Vitur said, well, I think we should take some rest before starting another battle. You look more exhausted than me, your grace. Helena thought, pretend to be alright. That asshole is literally the worst swordsman I've ever seen. I wonder from whom he learned those bullshits. Not to mention his weird stance and random skills, the way he practiced swordsmanship earlier on was full of mistakes. Helena said, if he were sent off to the battlefield, I'm afraid that he would have to depart this life at the very start of the battle. She thought if he really has the ability or at least the potential to be a swordsman, then I won't mind giving him a special treat somewhere nobody can see us. But he's indeed an incompetent one. Leonard replied, Helena? Helena said, do you trust me? Leonard said, of course I do. Helena thought, obviously, he's always my adorable elder brother. He doesn't even show any signs of hesitation when answering me. Helena leaned close and whispered, that's good. Now listen carefully to me. In the next combat, you should take notice of the leg of that ass. No, I mean the leg of your teacher. Leonard said, leg? Helena said he usually maintains one stance with his leg pointing outwards when combating. Leonard said, pointing outwards. Helena raised her finger and said, at that time, you have to seize the opportunity and put your sword through this place. Leonard looked at her with sparkling eyes. Helena said, you can do it, my dear brother. Leonard replied, yeah. I believe in you, Helena. The tour said, are you done talking, your grace? The break is over. Let's get back to our battle. Leonard took the sword and went toward him to fight. The tour said, oh, your expression is really cool. So your little sister must have encouraged you a lot, right? If only her encouragement would be of help to you, your grace. Helena watched the fight and thought would be of help. Don't worry, it would certainly help him knock a crook like you down. Vitua thought those impertinent brats do not show any sense of fear toward adults at all, then I'll give you a lesson this time. Leonard thought he's even fiercer than he was back then. If he keeps being like this, I can hardly see when his leg will point outwards. Then Leonard struck hard at his leg. Helena watched and thought, that's it. If I keep moving around him like this, his weak points will soon be exposed and then there will be many chances for a counterattack. Seize that opportunity and defeat him, Renatus. He did it. Vitua shouted in pain. Arg. Leonard said, I did it. Helena thought, I just showed him once, and he could really get it done with success. Vitua fell to the ground and shouted, ugh. Leonard thought, it feels so good. So that's how it feels to be a winner? Is this how he feels when defeating me in the previous battles? Helena said, congratulations. Finally you made it. Leonard said, Helena. Vitua shouted, don't laugh at me. It's obviously against the rules. This combat doesn't count. No way will I accept such defeat. Helena said to Leonard, well, my understanding about swordsmanship is merely zero. As for my brother, he's just taken up this new habit lately. It will be no big deal even if some tricks have been used. Don't you think so? You'd better come to terms with the fact that Vitua said I did warn you to keep your distance from us. I told you not to interfere in men's affairs, young lady. Helena thought, well, I guess it can't be helped. Helena held out her hand and said, lend me your sword. She took the sword and shouted, now, attack. Vitua said, what? Helena shouted, I'll show you why you got defeated by my brother, so just give an attack. Vitua said, well, it's your choice, young lady. I don't mean to hurt you at all. They began a fierce fight. Vitua thought, I just can't let this chance slip by so easily. She's nothing more than a 10-year-old kid, who is full of weakness and merely has no ability to resist. Vitua shouted, ha. Leonard said, look carefully. There's no use putting up a defense in such a direct way. It will do you no good but hurt your arm even more. Helena made a powerful stab. Vitua shouted, ugh. Helena thought, you always look down on me just because I'm a kid. And you're trying to crush me with those trivial skills of yours. That's never going to happen, I'm afraid. Helena struck a powerful blow with her sword and said, slightly rotate your arms so that the sword can make its way through. And once the opponent staggers, you need to find out his weak point and jump at the chance as quickly as possible. Once again Vitua fell to the ground. Arg. Arg. Helena thought, this scoundrel acts as if he were a master swordsman just to deceive those who have just taken up this activity. He merely had no intention of teaching them at all. He lied to his students, including my brother. All he gave them was the embarrassment they had to face when getting defeated. Vitua shouted again, arg, ugh. Helena said, literally a piece of cake to me. Vitua said, you said what? She thought, I don't care whether it's the previous life or this new life. One thing for sure is that I won't mind getting rid of those who have every intention of harming my people. Helena said it may hurt you, but swordsmanship doesn't suit you in the least. Instead of taking such risks, you'd better take up embroidery or something. Don't you think so? Vitur said what? Helena said you're fired. She thought so. Dante Renatus, Helena Pereska, who just reached the age of 10, Helena said don't worry, my dear brother. From now on, I'll take my responsibility as your new swordsmanship teacher. Helena thought finally I've found myself a new goal to achieve in this life. She thinks I am Dante Renatus. No, Helena Pereska, finally, in this boring life, I got an interesting job. Helena said well he asked me to say what I want to do. My brother's swordsmanship, I want it. She thinks I informed my present parents of the joyful news. Obviously, her father said, huh? Helena looked at him questioningly. She thinks a week passed without permission. A week later, in Duke Pereska's library. The Duke said, Helena? Helena replied, yes, father. The Duke said, actually, I dispatched someone to inquire into the swordsmanship instructor you dismissed. Due to bad grades at school, the swordsmanship instructor had to be postponed multiple times. Even the person who introduced him to me apologized multiple times. I believed in the reputation and history of the school he graduated from, and I almost added a line to that illusory history. Helena shouted God. She thought I knew it, swindler bastard. I'm not really surprised. After all, Pereska is not an uninhabited place, therefore my father had to have put his faith in the introduction of his acquaintances when it came to swords. He wouldn't have guessed that his daughter, who is only 10 years old, could win. Of course, it was possible due to me. Then, he told me to work as my brother's swordsmanship teacher. Helena said fortunately, he was fired early. If I had learned the fundamentals from that individual, I could have merely picked up negative habits. The Duke said, Helena, of course, I know that you're not a kid who talks nonsense. But according to common knowledge, Helena said, isn't it untrustworthy and foolish to teach someone a sword you've never used? The Duke raised his finger and said, yeah, that's it. After all, you don't have the will and it's been a long time since you only wanted to do something. I have a suggestion for you. Helena replied, suggestion? The Duke said, next week, we will have one visitor to our estate. He is supposed to be about Leonard's age, so would you like to teach Leonard enough to compete with him? Helena said, to make my brother beat the guest? She thought, with the sight of my dear brother, nothing can't be done. As soon as I thought of that, I soon realized that this was not a suggestion, but a provocation. The Duke said, Prince Caesar will be staying at our estate this summer, Helena, so show off your abilities. Helena replied, yes? Leonard said, tells me to beat the prince? Helena thought, this is the first time since I was reborn to have such an absurd request. The Duke said he studied at the Imperial Palace, and of course, he received swordsmanship training. So it turns out that competence is relative. She thought in terms of education and environment, the two are directly opposed. I don't know if he trusts me too much, or he fails fast and gives up with no regrets. Leonard said, Helena, can you see the hue of the prince's eyes? Helena replied, no, it's too far for me to see. What's up? Leonard said, all the members of the Grey family have red eyes, isn't it unusual? Helena thought, red eyes? Really? To think about it, before I died, he abdicated the crown in favor of his personal friend, Duke Erez Grey. Obviously, the eyes at that time were also red. Leonard said, I am Leonard Pereska. It is an honor to meet your majesty. Helena said, my name is Helena Pereska. Your majesty the prince, welcome with all my heart. Helena thought he resembles Erez pretty well when I see him closely. They are, after all, descendants, so it is natural for them to resemble each other. The prince replied, it's fine if it's word of mouth. Helena thought, his personality is so insolent. Of course, it's a normal greeting. Because the prince resembled that only close friend, by pretending not to hear it, I contributed extra words to the dialogue that might otherwise have gone unnoticed. Helena said, so, how did you expect to be greeted, your majesty? The prince replied, what? Helena raised her hand and said, if you don't like the normal greeting, would you be content with such a greeting? The prince shouted, you, how dare you? A woman replied, Your Majesty. She came near disrespectfully, indeed. Isn't it very unlucky? Come on, let's be friendly, close, please. I apologize for this rudeness, but, Your Majesty Caesar, shouldn't we all get along while we're here? Helena thought, shed tears. The prince said, okay. Let's get along for a few months, lady. Helena thought, he's docile right away? I thought he'd be more arrogant, Hayes. Helena and the prince shook hands. Helena thought, oh ho, he said you could use a sword, is he trying to win by force? I didn't think that I'd have a fight with a child born 500 years later. I can't lose. The logic of the second miracle of life. Look, if you want to shock the opponent when you shake hands, you just need to hold his hand tight. The important thing is the position and the joint arrangement. That's it. Helena squeezed his hand tightly as they shook hands. The prince shouted, Arg. A man said, what's wrong, Your Majesty? The prince shouted, no, nothing. Erez said, But you just shouted. The prince replied, silent. Not a big deal. Let's go. Erez replied, okay. Helena thought, don't talk too much, Erez's descendant. Even without my father's suggestion, I decided to crush this guy. Helena said, I'm looking forward to spending time with you this summer, Your Majesty. She thought, understand? If you're confused again, you'll die. The prince said, me too, it'll be really fun. Let's see, I'll definitely take revenge. This will be a really exciting summer, Helen's mother said. Helena, do you know? Even when you're the same age as His Highness, you cannot behave like that. It must be difficult for His Highness for losing his mother. You and Leonard are the only children who are the same age in this house. You must be nice to each other. Helen replied, yes, I understood. Helena thinks, I thought my first encounter with Caesar was rather successful, but it didn't seem so for the adults, I guess? Thanks to that, I now know why the arrogant prince visited the Duke. Her mother said that's right. Helena is such a bright child. Helen thinks last winter, the prince was distressed because the Empress fell ill. Consoled by the Emperor's concern, the prince left Wangxiang to come here. That's the story that was a little far-fetched from the imperial family's intention. I thought the prince's visit wasn't too sudden, so I didn't care about the reason behind it. Now that the Empress has died, there still hasn't been any force to protect that young prince in Wangxiang. The Emperor was going to hide Caesar and rearrange oppositions of Wangxiang. The more I look into the reason behind it, the more chaos it appears. To be in debt to another family because of such circumstances, it wouldn't be nice even if he behaved. But to have that attitude? Fine, just lose where the adults can't see next time. Prince said, did the lady scold you for what happened earlier? Helen thinks could it be that he was waiting for me? But my mother gave me a 1-hour lecture though. Helen replied, no way. Prince said, I see, just as I thought. Although you were a bit rude, I didn't really mind it, so no need to be worried about it. Helena said, yes, of course. I didn't mind it either, so don't worry. No concern. Prince said, what? You should at least care a little. You would be in big trouble if you acted like that to your superior. Helena said, are you my superior? Prince shouts, of course. I'm of royal blood. Helena said, is that so? But right now, if it wasn't for the Duke, you would be in trouble, no? Helen thinks, right? Because you have run into our arms to protect that royal blood of yours. In this circumstance, you can't consider yourself to have the upper hand over the Duke. Prince said, I waited for you because I wanted to resolve the misunderstanding. Helena thinks, why did he suddenly show me that innocent face? Didn't we decide that we would attack each other through the handshake? Prince said, I know I'm not someone worth welcoming. By accepting me, you will soon become the enemy of the first Empress, Valor. I know that for the former nobles Pereska, the one that has withdrawn from politics, I'm just a burden. Therefore, you don't have to welcome me with superficial hospitality, that's all I wanted to say. Then, please excuse me. Helena goes away and thinks, wait, if so, doesn't it look like I was picking a fight for no reason? She said this. I accidentally bullied him, Helena Pereska's first mistake in life. She thinks I thought the prince was arrogant, so I teased him a little. I can feel the pressure already. Helena said, it's too late to regret now. She thinks it couldn't be helped, because it wasn't something worth applauding. I'll have to figure out a way to beat that guy later on anyway. Let's just consider this a preemptive strike on his mentality. Leonard said, Helena, did you reconcile with His Highness? Helen said, reconcile? Reconcile what? Leonard said, oh? Did you forget already? It happened last week, but when you met in the hall, the atmosphere was still hostile. Helena replied, it was just a kid's quarrel. It's not worth reconciliation. Why are you concerned about that guy's brother? Didn't you hear Father? Leonard said, I did hear Father's request, but I hope we can get along well together. Helena replied, why? Leonard said, isn't it hard to make friends in Wangxiang? It sure would be lonely. Helena thinks, oh my, to think there would be someone so kind and naive. Helena said, there are still 298 swings left, so don't stop, brother. Ugh. Helen thinks, after witnessing my victory over that swordsman teacher who looked like a beggar, Leonard shows no doubt in my words. He is truly a student worth training. He's improving rapidly. I'll have to slow down to grasp the opponent's power. Helena said, well, if even you said that, then I'll reconcile with that guy. Leonard said, really? She thinks no. Leonard said, go ahead. I still have 295 swings left. Helena said, okay, I'll be back. Helena thinks, according to the report from a few days of observation, Hamilton and Caesar are currently training swordsmanship in the second floor's hall. Reconciliation is just an excuse. The combative temperament is still prioritized. My brother must win. Helena opens the door and says, oh? What is it, my lady? Helena said, I just want to watch your training. Erez said, ah. You're training swordsmanship with young Master Leonard, right? It seems like you're curious about the imperial swordsmanship. She thinks, I'm teaching it though. But explaining is too bothersome. Erez said, is there a reason not to, Your Highness? Prince said, just let her be. That's a yes, isn't it? Helena thinks, pondering, after all, this will improve the mood. Anyway, this is a chance to find out his weaknesses, to understand thoroughly his ability. Erez and the prince fight. Erez shouts, begin. Helena watches with wide eyes. She thinks, what is it? It's great. How surprising. He has amazing focus and reflexes for his age. While Leonard is a trained talent, he is just born this way. In this term, he's like me. Leonard wouldn't stand a chance with his current level. This is big trouble. He said 198. 199. 200. Helena thinks, with current skills, Leonard can't do it. That's a big deal. Erez said, Your Majesty, you're in a good mood today. I'll take a break before continuing. Helena gives the handkerchief and said, indeed, you have great skills. I watched it carefully, Your Majesty. Prince said, you mean that you'd watched it before? Helena thinks, after watching him, this kid has no weakness. Then, Helena said, if you are not tired, can you fight me? Helena thinks, I just need to look for flaws while fighting with him personally. Prince said, what? Erez said, huh? Prince said, no, I've heard you've only been learning the sword for a short time, but what if you get hurt? Helena said, basically, while learning swordsmanship, you'll learn to be hurt. Prince said, actually, it's not exaggerated, but if you get hurt, what should we tell to the Duke? Erez shouts, ah, that's right, you will not be able to study if you fight with someone with a big difference in skill. She thinks, thanks for worrying about me, but I have to find out Caesar's weakness. Helena said, it appears that you are uninterested in the match with me? Prince said, that's not the matter. Helena replied, so, shall we bet? Loser will grant the wishes of the victor. Okay. Erez said, please say no, Your Majesty. Prince said, any wish? Helena thinks, right. He got trapped. And she replied, yes, anything. Prince said, even if it's complicated later? A horrible fight between Prince and Helena begins. Erez cryingly shouts, then, please be careful not to get hurt. Helena thinks it's a battle to find his weaknesses, so I should try various stabs as much as possible. Prince shouts, so, start. And the fight starts. Helena thinks first, the pelvic side's hard to defend. This child, defending is quick, and counterattacking is fast too. Prince said you're not a beginner, aren't you? Helena replied it's not the problem. I won't lose. Prince said lose is not in my dictionary. Helena thinks said so, but indeed, a child's strength is not sufficient. I think Leonard's stamina was quite better these days. Although I intentionally attack places that are hard to block, he still defends well. To deal with that nature, I have no choice but to inject practical skills that can never be learned in class. There's nothing to stop it. If I attack like that, it's easy to hold on to the win. Too dangerous. This child. Why does he block it with his arm? Prince Caesar again pointed his sword at Helena. She thinks why is it so crazy? Helena and Prince draw swords at each other. Erez shouts stop, just there. Your Majesty, are you okay? Prince Caesar said, I almost win, why did you tell me to stop? Helena said, a drawn battle. Prince said if Hamilton hadn't told us to stop, I would have won. Helena replied if it were a true sword, your arm would have been cut off. Prince Caesar said why the arms? Whose head cut off is the loser, right? Erez shouts please stop talking about scary things. Prince said please stop talking about scary things. Helena said me too. Erez said it's not fun at all. I asked both of you not to get hurt. That? What should I do? She said, haha. Helena thinks this child, he's truly not a man. If Leonard's hard work is worthwhile, Caesar's unpredictability is appealing. Did the first teacher who taught me have this feeling? Confidence that your student would become anything. Then, shall I try to teach them? Helena thinks surely you will become something if you grow up. Once, do you want to grow up? That evening Ullica said, oh my, where is His Highness? Erez replied His Highness is tired, so he decided to skip dinner. Ullica said, ah really? Helena thinks Caesar did not appear for dinner. After all, it was hard to say when the sword hit his arm. Even if it didn't hurt, he'd have some bruises. Helena goes to Caesar's room, she knocks on the door and thinks, I felt bad. I'll just check it out and go back. Caesar replied, come in. She thinks his voice sounds pleasant. Is he okay? Helena Pereska, the second beauty that I have met. Helena said, is it broken? What the heck did I do to a child? No, of course there would be a bump, but Caesar replied, your expression is worth seeing. Helena said, have you been treated properly? Caesar said, Hamilton brought in a nurse just now. I will get better soon. Helena replied, I don't think it's funny. I know because I have broken a finger before, you will get more aches and pains later. Caesar said, a finger? Helena said, not like you, when blocking the opponent's attack. It was broken while I was playing. Caesar replied, playing? Helena thinks somehow, I almost talked about something that happened in my previous life. I had to change the subject. Helena replied, by the way, didn't you tell everyone that you got hurt because of me? Caesar said, why would I do that? I thought you hated me. Even if I hate you, I won't do such a childish thing. Helena said, you're not saying you don't hate me, are you? Caesar replied, so do you. Helena said, huh? Not really, I like you though. She thinks, do I want to raise a genius like you? This is the truth. Prince Caesar replied, well, Helena thinks again, wow, are you embarrassed? Prince Caesar shouts, more importantly, you. Did you know that the move wasn't neat in the match earlier? Helena replied, what's with the match? Caesar said, I mean, you didn't use your strength in the end. Helena thinks so it is. As soon as I saw Caesar raising his left arm, the course of the sword could not be changed, and injuries to his arm should be avoided as much as possible. Helena said, if so, you knew you would get hurt, but you still blocked it? Your Highness, are you a mayfly? Prince said, if I lose, do you know what kind of weird wish you would make? Helena asked, if a powerless lady wishes, she will wish for something great. Prince Caesar replied, did you think of what wish you would make? Helena said, you will become my subordinate. Is it special? Caesar shouts, I knew it. How could a prince of the country become a subordinate of a noble lady? Helena said, what about you, your highness? If you won, what wish would you make? Caesar said, never mind. The bet failed anyway, so there's no point of knowing. Helena replied, I told you my wish. You're so mean. Caesar said, you don't need to know. Helena said, I see. Were you trying to do something bad? She taunted softly. Caesar shouted, oh my God, don't be ridiculous. What do you think I am? It was fun to tease him. He said, Caesar said, wanted us to call each other by name. Helena said, name? How difficult is that? Caesar said, well, with your personality, you wouldn't accept it. By the way, it's difficult for everyone to call each other comfortably. Hamilton even bowed. Prince Caesar remembered when a man said to him, call you by your name? Your Highness, I don't know what I did wrong, but please forgive me. Caesar said, why? Helena thinks, yeah, I know how it felt. I once made such a request to Erez. Everyone supported and revered me, but they only followed my power. No one wanted to stand by my side. So, I told him to speak casually when it was just the two of us. Caesar said, please don't say that as a joke. Helena thinks, that's what the old-fashioned guy said. Helena said, okay, let's call each other by name. Prince Caesar said, oh really? Helena said, yeah, let's speak like a friend. Caesar said, no, it's a bit too much. Helena said, so, would you like to fight with me more often in the future? Caesar said, had I known this would be the case, I would have thought of a more plausible wish. Helena thinks he liked it so much just by calling his name. If Erez had called me by my name, how would it have been? She laughed, ha ha ha. Oh my God! Caesar said, why are you laughing? Ha ha, don't laugh. Helena thinks we decided to stop practicing swordsmanship until Caesar's arm healed, then gathered to play cards every day. It was Leonard's suggestion to take care of Caesar, but it got boring after 5 days. Moreover, it was more difficult when the rainy season had begun. Leonard said we can't go out. Helena said the body is stretched. Caesar said, soggy and uncomfortable. A man said the thunder is rumbling. It sometimes appears in the Duke's mansion on a day like this. Caesar said, what will appear? The man said, a ghost. Man said, what I mean is phantom. If there is a sudden downpour in the middle of a summer night like this, then a mysterious girl who's all dressed up in blue will appear in the basement room. Leonard looked at him with wide eyes. Prince Caesar said, Lee, liar. Helena thinks, what nonsense are you talking about? She said there is no so-called phantom in this world. Men said it hasn't been witnessed only once or twice but many times, my lady. That's why the Count has imposed restrictions on access to the basement these days, right? Prince Caesar said, really? Leonard said, yeah, our father told us not to approach the basement room. Man said I have no clue how it would feel if we were dragged away by the phantoms or something. Then should we give it a try? Helena thinks, come on, old man. I can clearly see that evil smirk on your face. Man said, be careful, little kids. The moment you're feeling safe and secure, perhaps the phantom in the blue dress is watching from afar. Then he said, I'm sorry for disturbing you, your grace. But some problems suddenly arose during the process of the carriage repair, and we need to talk a bit about that. All right, I'll be back in a while. Leonard thinks, Hamilton, so that's how you relieve your stress? Helena said, why do you guys look so scared? If everyone insists on having seen ghosts, then whether it's a human being's shadow or a ghost's shadow won't really matter. Prince Caesar said, no, there are ghosts for real, I swear. Rumor has it that ghosts also exist in the Imperial City. Leonard said, Imperial City? Prince Caesar said, yeah. The day when the sun disappears forever, the evil dragon Krusek, which got sealed up by Emperor Dante Renatus in his early age, that ghost will wander along the corridor, searching for an appropriate body to reincarnate. Helena said, can I believe in such an incredible story? Helena thinks, but why does it have to fly all the way to that place? The firestorm nearly obliterated everything there, including the body that is needed for its reincarnation. Prince Caesar said, all right. Let's put an end to this boring game. Instead, Why don't we go and confirm whether there are ghosts in that room or not? Leonard replied, okay. Helena said, I won't go there. Prince said, why not? Aren't you curious about that? There may be ghosts in your house. Helena said, because I don't believe in ghosts. Did you just ignore my words, or are you deaf for real? Prince Caesar said, just go and confirm yourself before jumping to a conclusion. It will do you no harm at all, won't it? Obviously there aren't. Helena thinks, what a ridicule. Why do I have to wander around on such a scorching hot day just to satisfy the kids' curiosity? I hate being annoyed by such things. Helena shouted, if you guys insist on finding out the truth or whatever, then go for yourselves. I won't join you too. Leonard said, so this entry is connected to the basement room, isn't it? Prince Caesar replied, yeah, that's it. What should we do now? The door has been locked. Leonard said, but this is the only way that leads to the room. Prince said, geez. Helena thinks, my gosh, what the hell am I doing here? How could I be dragged into this silly game of theirs? Caesar said, so you're scared of ghosts, right? My goodness, so that's why you refused to go with us? Helena thinks they kept making fun of me, so I haven't changed at all, despite being given the chance to live another life. That's right, it's still not too late. I'd better head back now. Leonard said, I wish I knew where the key was. I guess there's no other way, or shall I break the lock? Caesar said, you're really a man of metal, Leonard. Helena thinks, are those dudes really going to mess everything up here? Helena pushed them back and shouted, go away. Let me handle this. Leonard said, HM? You have the key? Helena replied, I don't. But I have this. Caesar said, a hairpin? Can we use it to unlock the door? Helena replied, I always used it in my previous life when I was still an orphan. I mean, I learned it by chance when reading the work of a great man. Leonard said, that's my little sister. There's nothing she can't do. Caesar said, oh. Helena replied, ugh. Prince Caesar said, it's so hot. And kinda short of air, too. Helena said, let me take the lead. Leonard said, be careful, guys. Watch your steps. Helena thinks it's even worse than expected. This place feels so humid and dusty, also. How annoying. Pull yourself together, Helena. Since you'll be the only one to blame for it if these kids get injured. Caesar said, finally we got here. Well, there's nothing particularly scary here. I think there's a stream running along the tunnel. Leonard said, you can say that again. I can hear the brawling sound, too. But apart from that, there's nothing interesting here, Your Highness. Caesar replied, well, Helena said, see, I told you that there weren't ghosts here. So cold. I could obviously feel the scorching heat when walking down the stairs, but it's exceptionally cold here. Now you confirm that there are no ghosts here, right? It's time for us to head back now. Leonard suddenly said, hold on. That. What's that? Prince Caesar and Leonard saw the figure and both shouted, "Art." Leonard said. Helena said, "What?" "That person." Caesar said, "Ghost, that's a ghost." Helena said, "No, hold on. Helena thinks I knew it. These kids are really. Thank you for bringing me along even when you're scared to death. But ghost, that's a ghost. She finally appears. She will put a curse on us. Thanks to you, everyone in the edifice found out that we sneaked into the basement room in the middle of the night." Helena said, "Why also me?" The three knelt before the ghost and surrendered themselves. Leonard cried, "It's because you don't believe in ghosts." Caesar said, "Hey, stop it. I was very scared too." Helena said, "But it's just an illusory phenomenon anyway?" "An illusory phenomenon? Is it only available in the desert?" Helena said, "At a particular point in space, if the temperature fluctuates quickly, then we will also be able to see the illusion. The basement room back then was an ideal place for the generation of illusions." "Got it?" Helena said, Really? That's good news." Caesar said, "You may miss something, Helena." She replied, "What?" Prince Caesar said, "Illusion depends on the refraction of light rays that reflect a particular object in different space into the air." Helena said, "Well, maybe it reflected something, such as a portrait." Caesar said, "No way. I told you there was no portrait like that in the basement room." The only thing that could reflect itself completely into the air. Helena thinks, Arch, you really gave me some goosebumps. I once saw a ghost in my second life. While holding the trembling hands of those poor kids, I just lay awake that night, apologizing to the ghosts and praying to the gods. He said, well, you're talking about that ghost, aren't you? Then Erez said, actually, it's the reflection of the tiles that are laid along the bottom of the canal. The white and blue mosaic tiles were used. Almost everyone in the county edifice is well informed about that. You don't know that, Your Highness? Caesar said, so that's not a ghost? Erez said, so you just thought that was a ghost? 3 of you? Well, it's cute though. Perhaps it will be a memorable experience for you. Helena thinks, and that's it. We went through such a hard time together. And since then, we've been closer to one another. We all agree that this shameful past of ours should never be exposed to others. Even when we grow up, every time someone asks us how our friendship began, it will immediately remind us of that day. But no one among us says a thing about what happened that day. Absolutely never, even for once. No one mentioned what happened that day. Never, not even once. When Caesar's left arm almost healed, the summer solstice festival began in Alpentis, where the Duke's mansion was located. Caesar said, you've been to a festival, right? How was it? Helena said, don't disturb the class and go away. Caesar said, oh, you're so mean. Don't you want to go to a festival? Helena said, yes, that's just it. Prince Caesar said, why? Helena said, there are only 3 kinds of people who like festivals. A child, a pickpocket, or a young pickpocket. Caesar shouts, aren't you a child? You're the youngest among the 3 of us. Reimold said, Alpentis is a rural town, so even if there's a festival, there's nothing to see, Your Highness. Caesar said, but I'm curious about how the common people's festivals are. Because I've never seen it before. Helena thinks, ugh, what an absurd remark. Caesar said, Hamilton won't let me go alone. Reinold said, if the 3 of us say we're going, they'll allow it, right? Caesar raised his finger and said, after all, it's Leonard. It's easy to speak to you. Helena said, well, leave me out, it's annoying. He said, is there anything that you don't find annoying? Helena said, except for teaching my brother swordsmanship, I find everything annoying. Caesar said, are you a teacher? I feel sorry for Leonard. Reinold replied, no, Your Highness. Our Helena is a good teacher. Helena said, did you hear that? My brother can't lie. Caesar shouts, these siblings are really. Helena straightened her sword and said, anyway, I'm not going to a festival. I won't go even if there's a knife to my throat. Okay? A girl said, please take a look, take a look. Another girl replied, oh my, really? Helena thinks, why am I here? I hate it that I'm getting used to this. Helena said, why did you drag him here and then suddenly shun him? These brothers, Caesar said, how could he miss us? If we went out, Hamilton would freeze. Helena said, wow, how can your mind only turn to the wrong side? Don't you feel sorry for him? Caesar said, it's because you don't know. Nagging on about even trivial matters can bother people. Helena replied, Helena thinks, I know he feels uncomfortable. But it's understandable why the servants did that. I could feel, someone is following us. After parting from Hamilton, I felt such an atmosphere. Well-dressed children are walking without a guardian, so it's natural to be the target of bad guys. A pickpocket or kidnapper? Check which direction the sign is coming from. Did we just make eye contact? Looking at me openly? Or is this person keeping sight of the child? Where does he want to hide? A man saw them in secret. Helena ran toward him. Reinold shouted, what's wrong? Caesar said, Helena? Helena replied, I'm going somewhere for a moment. Both of you wait here. No. The alley is so long. Who is he? The man faced Helena, bowed, and said, my name is No. Helena thinks, when did he come behind me? No said, I really wanted to see you. You have grown up so beautifully. Helena looked at him with questioning eyes. Helena thinks, who is this? I don't remember meeting anyone like this. He doesn't seem to have any intention of attacking me, but something's wrong. Is he a pervert? Tears appeared in No's eyes. He said I have been waiting for you to be born. My God, my Savior, my one and only King. Helena replied, What? No, said, how does time pass so slowly? How cruel to this crumbling body. Helena said, What are you talking about? No, said, Where are you, Helena? They are looking for you. I will see you again soon. Before I run out of breath, I will definitely do it. Helena shouts, Wait. Give me an explanation. Helena thinks, King? Does he know that I was Dante in the previous life? Helena ran after no. Prince Caesar clenched his hand and said, What are you doing, Helena? It's dangerous. Helena thinks, Let go, Caesar, I have something to say to him. What happened? Disappeared in just a moment. Caesar shouts, Who is that man? What did he do to you? He didn't do anything. If he didn't do anything, the atmosphere wouldn't be like that. Helena said, Really? He just asked for directions, so I showed him the way. Helena thinks, I know you are worried about me, but why are you so angry? Caesar said, Just asked for directions. Helena thinks, Is the justification too absurd? Helena said, Can you let go of my hand first? It hurts. Leonard said, Helena, did nothing really happen? Didn't you hear anything unpleasant? Helena said, Yeah, it's really okay. Reinold said, Shall we take a rest here? She replied, Yeah. She thinks, Is he still nearby? Caesar said, This won't do. It would be better to have Hamilton join us. Helena said, We left him first. Since we don't even know where the Viscount is, how can we find him? Caesar said, Where the carriage stopped. At times like this, he always waited in the place where we were separated. Helena thinks he's not been like this once or twice. He's somehow good at it. Reinold clenched Helena's hand and said, Then I'll be back, Your Highness. Caesar replied, No, I'll go. If I'm alone with her, we'll definitely fight. Helena said, Why don't you go with him? Reinold replied, Huh? Helena thinks, If No or Ni is still nearby, I want to talk more while I'm alone. Prince Caesar angrily said, If you wait alone and a stranger gives you cookies, are you going to follow along? Helena said, I said he just asked for directions. Prince Caesar said, All right, wait here. It's not far, it will be quicker if I run. Reinold said, It looks like we're waiting to be called to have a meal by the prince. Helena, did nothing really happen? Helena replied, Really, there was no sign of harming me at all. Reinold hugged her and said, Even though you said that, I was worried. I thought something was going to happen because I forced you to go out. What a relief. Helena thinks Leonard is like an angel. After all, my brother is the cutest and kindest. Even though they are the same age, he's much better than someone who gets angry because he can't do what he wants. Helena hugged back and replied, Thank you, brother. Helena thinks, Well, king or whatever, it was just a lie. Just a crazy man. Now I can no longer feel any signs of being followed, right? Is the feeling gone? If he wandered around with the intention of approaching me, now would be the right time because no one is around me. If the feeling disappeared after Caesar left, Helena shouts, Caesar. Caesar is in danger, brother. Helena thinking about it for a bit. It's only natural, but it's not easy. A princess who is still nothing, and a prince who has lost power but is still the number one successor. Who's everyone going to target? When he said Helena. His Highness is nowhere to be seen. Helena said to Leonard he must have been taken to a brothel. The place doesn't open during the day, so it's easy to hide. Leonard replied, Be brothel? Does it mean His Highness was taken by someone? It's not a thought. I'm sure. Helena said, Brother, bring the Viscount. I will go to the brothel now. Leonard replied, What? It's too dangerous, Helena. If Caesar is not taken to the brothel, we will go elsewhere right away. Reinold shouts, Then it would be better if I go there. Helena said, No. You run faster than me, so you should bring the Viscount. Reinold said, But. Helena replied, Brother, have I ever talked nonsense? Reinold said, Of course not. Promise that you won't do anything dangerous, Helena. Helena thinks, Don't worry, brother. There is no one who hates taking on a dangerous job as much as I do now. If something goes wrong with Caesar here, my family will be destroyed. Be careful and calm, check his status and wait for help. Helena came out and said if he's not safe, I won't let you go. She thinks is it from the alley on the left? Is it this building? The front door seems dangerous, so I have to go through the back door. A man said it's the quickest and easiest way to stab with a knife. What? Are you stupid? Then it will look like a murder. Some men clenched Prince Caesar. Helena entered the room and thinks someone is in this room. A voice said it should be disguised as an accident. Then, let's throw him into the river. Another voice said and after the rainy season is over, the river water will rise a lot. Helena looked behind the door. Erez said it'd look like he fell into the water while walking around. Another man replied that's a good idea. Helena thinks Caesar is here. Phew, he's still safe. It's not an ordinary kidnapping as they're trying to disguise a murder as an accident. I don't know who is driving it, but to make him accidentally fall into the river as a disguise, they will definitely do it at night. I'll just wait like this until Hamilton comes. Prince shouts you bastards. If you dare to touch me, you will all die. Are you out of your mind, little boy? Be quiet. You still don't understand the situation, right? A man said this won't do. He's not quiet at all. Throwing someone alive, we will get caught. Just kill him now. Helena thinks, is he no longer safe now? I'd like to commend you for knowing your position with courage. However, I can't wait for Hamilton to come if things go on like this. A man said how to kill him? Strangle him to death? No, it will leave hand marks. Helena thinks I'll lure one out, and then deal with the other one. Helena clenched a chair leg and attacked the man. The man shouts, what's wrong? What's this sound? Another said I'll check and come back, you watch over here. The man said tisk, all of a sudden. Helena clenched the chair leg and thinks because of a difference in height, it's hard to hit a vital spot right away. Hit the knees first. Helena struck him hard on the leg, causing the man to fall face down on the ground. The man shouts hit the knees first. Caesar shouts Helena? How could? Helena shouted stand up. We must run out of here before the other guy comes. The prince replied A fighter girl ran toward them. She shouts hey. What are you doing? Helena shouts run to the other side. I opened the back door, so you'll just need to run over him. Caesar shouts got it. The fighter girl shouts stop. Helena thinks even if caught once again, we will definitely escape as long as I'm still alert. It will be much easier to avoid them if we get out of here. Helena said, brother? Another man came toward them. She thinks one more? The man said, who are you? The fighter girl shouts hey. Catch them. The man took a sword and shouts did you try to run? You can't. The man struck a powerful blow with a sword and inflicted a deep wound on the prince's back. Caesar shouts don't even think of running away. I will end your life here. The prince cried Helena, run. The fighter girl shouts why did you cut him? We have to disguise it as an accident. The man replied oops, I made a mistake. Helena saw Caesar's wound and angrily looked at him. The fighter girl pulled Helena's hair and shouts damn it, everything went wrong. Who are you? Where did you come from? Helena turned around and struck her arm hard, causing her to scream in pain. The girl shouts arg. My arm. Helena grabbed the sword and plunged it into the man's chest. The man shouts what? And fell to the ground. Helena said, I wanted to live peacefully in this new life. You guys ruined everything. You are all dead. Helena threw the sword and thinks Leonard really did his best. They couldn't arrive any faster than that. Well, I just cleaned up the trash faster. Erez saw this and said well, are you saying you've dealt with them all by yourselves? Unbelievable, princess, what's your identity? He said I'm just a genius. Helena thinks after the kidnapping, I was sick for 3 days. The doctor said my ankle ligament and arm muscles were injured. The kidnappers were fortunate to stay alive, but the future would not be bright since they were taken to the capital, paying the price for touching the bloodline of the imperial family or getting killed by the mastermind to keep silent. It was really a very troublesome and tiring day. Still, Caesar did not die. He's still alive. It wasn't bad. Anyway, I was unable to avoid the fate of getting scolded by my father. 2 days after my body recovered, she's father said, Helena, do you know why I called you? She replied him, for rescuing His Highness safely. Are you going to praise me? Well, it's not very safe, so it's not something to be praised for. Helena thinks I guess I have no talent for jokes. Helena's father said, Helena, we are worried because we know that you are not an ordinary child. Helena said, is it because I'm so outstanding that I might defeat my brother and take over the duchy? Her father said, you don't have such an ambition, do you? Helena thinks, after all, my father knows it very well. Her father said, we're worried that you'll get caught up in something you can't handle because you're too good. Even if you are smart enough to do something with certainty, no parent likes their 10-year-old daughter running into the kidnappers. Helena thinks my father in my previous life said that the anecdote of me sealing the dragon was the most interesting. Her father said Viscount Noct is eager to take you to the capital. He said he wanted to raise an excellent teacher. Helena thinks Hamilton, another person like my teacher in my previous life, appeared. He said if you accept this, you will be recognized as a special child. As a parent, I don't know if that's right or not. What do you want to do? Helena thinks the life of a special child that my father keeps warning about is clearly contrary to my ideal of wanting to live a quiet life. But I can't find anything else interesting. Whatever I do is boring and meaningless, only when Leonard swings his sword as I taught him, because I could feel the joy in my second life. Helena said, I want to teach Leonard swordsmanship. Her father said, okay, I see. Helena thinks I'll do what I want to do. I won't do what I don't want to do. That's how I'm going to live this life. My father allowed it. Now the reason to defeat Caesar has disappeared. Well, it's not that I've been growling because of that. At least, there will be a reason enough to come to visit him naturally. Anyway, I feel guilty that Caesar was injured because of my hesitation. What did someone with his hands tied hug me for? What should I say? Thank you? I'm sorry? Are you okay? No. I'm so embarrassed because I'm feeling guilty. Helena opened the door and said, then, I'll just go back. Caesar said, where are you going? Helena replied, why aren't you sleeping but going out? Caesar said, I can't sleep. So, what are you doing at this late hour? She replied, well. Caesar said, were you going to do something bad to me? Helena replied, shut up. How's your injury? It seems fine since you can move. Caesar, laying on the bed, said it's still burning, but it'll heal soon. What if you can't get married because of the scar? All of a sudden, Helena said, naturally, a man must have a genuine personality and white jade-like skin. How about this? Caesar said, are you pretending to lecture me? Helena said, Caesar, you can't get married. Caesar said, whose personality are you criticizing? Caesar said, you can't either. If I can't, neither can you. Helena said, no need. I said my brother would take care of me until I became an old woman. Caesar shouts, what? No way. I can't get married because of this. You must take responsibility for me. Helena said, a lot of troublesome things will happen, so why should I marry into the imperial family? Caesar replied, what is it that doesn't bother you? How frustrating. Helena thinks PTFF. I really enjoy teasing him. What should I do? I want to keep teasing him. Anyway, there's one thing that has bothered me ever since. Even though he is a patient, his face is so emaciated that it is worrying. Helena said, Caesar, can't you sleep? Caesar replied, yeah, I'm scared. Helena said, it's scary. Caesar said, I'm afraid to go back to Wangxiang. Everyone wants to kill me there. Helena said, no, that's not true. Some people want to protect Caesar. Like my father? Or Caesar replied, how long do you think they can protect me for? I don't want to die. I don't need things like that. I just want a peaceful life. Helena thinks right, he's only 14 years old. There's no way he could be fine with all of this. You always showcase your confidence so no one can see your weaknesses. I was also defeated by the ones who tried to get rid of you. Though it's scary, Helena said, Caesar. You still won't be safe even if you give up the throne. Instead of leaving behind consequences, they'll destroy everything in their way. If you give up the throne, no one will be there to protect you anymore. Helena thinks it's the advice from my own experience. That's how I dealt with my half-siblings. Caesar said I know that too, but what will I have to do? Helena said what's so hard to see? Caesar's the first prince, the first heir. Caesar said you'll just have to become the emperor. You. It's easier said than done, Helena said. Listen, Caesar. You know that baby mice can't catch cats, right? The more you're backed into a corner, the stronger you must be. Touch me and you will pay for it. You must show people that. Caesar said, I can't, I'm not strong like you. Helena thinks, special personality always alone. So Caesar needs someone trustworthy to rely on. Helena said, no, you're strong. You risked your life to save me. Helena thinks I know what father's worried about. However, I'll stand by this kid's side anyway. Caesar said, even if you're a fool, I'll listen to you. Just as long as you don't run away. Helena replied, become the emperor, Caesar. It's alright, I'll be by your side. I'll help you become the emperor. So stop worrying. Prince replied, thank you. Helena thinks the night was dark and long, but we held each other's hands and got through it. The wound on Caesar's back left a scar. Hamilton was anxious about getting me to the capital, and then Erez said, please. I'm begging you. Helena thinks was declined by my father. Helena said, Your Majesty, please return safely. Caesar said, Helena, is Leonard your only disciple? Helena replied, huh? That's right. Prince Caesar said, indeed, I can't beat siblinghood, I'll let it go this time. Teach me how to use swords too, won't you? All people saw him with wonderful eyes. Helena replied, no, but how? Does that mean I'll go to the capital? Caesar said, it's all right, I'll stop by every summer. Is it fine, Duke? Duke said, you're welcome at any time, Your Majesty. Prince Caesar said, did you hear that? Keep your promise and stay with me until I can get to the highest position. Helena replied, I'm a bit difficult to please, do you mind? Prince Caesar said, my teacher will do fine. Helena said, great, I'll tolerate you. Helena thinks there was suddenly a stir in my everyday life. That summer was short. A maid entered and she said, lady, young master. Someone sent you a letter. Helena said, ah. Give it to me. Helena opened the letter and read, Dear Leonard and Helena. I'll come by next month, so please clean up the room for me. And get rid of that outdated curtain. Caesar. W. Gray. Helena said, he didn't even say hi. Since when did my guest room become your room? This kid. Is it from His Majesty? Leonard said, time really travels fast? Helena replied, yeah, he's back here already. Helena thinks it's been 3 years since the summer that I met him. Reinold said this summer is going to be really hot. Perel gave the sword and said, Agu, you're here. Helena thinks after Leonard won at some local competitions, his teacher gave me the nickname the Lady Teacher. Helena said, is the stuff all ready? Perel gave the sword box and said, of course. Check it for yourself. This is the young master's and this is yours. Oh, the Perel's servant came by yesterday. It was to meet you. Helena said, Perel? He replied, yes, I think they're looking for someone to teach swordsmanship. You're the best at it lately, so I think they want to ask for a favor. Helena said, is that so? Helena thinks if it's Perel, then last year. If it's Perel, then last year. How can a teacher be a 12-year-old kid? What kind of joke is this? He insulted me like that. It's better than I expected. It's really short and light. Helena said, but I don't have that much free time to take in students that don't know their places. Perel said, shall I pass the words on to them? Helena said, yes, please tell them to give up swordsmanship as it's a joke to them. She thinks it's enough to decorate a dress, very suitable for self-defense. Perel said, haha. Of course. I'll tell them that. Please trust me. You've done well. Helena thinks it's a great sword. I haven't felt so good in a while. Maid said, oh my. Lady, are you all right? She thinks I have a feeling that this is a thief. Helena replied, it's stolen. Maid replied, huh? How is it possible? Should we tell security? Helena said, no, it's fine. They just got a few pennies. Helena thinks I've met some thieves in my past life, but being in a position like this really gets on my nerve. Maid replied, you're really forgiving. Helena ran away and said I can find them myself. Maid shouts, "La, lady. They could be dangerous. You can't do that." Helena said, "Then you should hope that there are no casualties." Helena thinks, I indeed wasn't joking. Where can a wanderer go in a village as small as this? A man said, "Stealing from a noble, that's it. Did you take anything else?" A poor child shouts, "No, I'm telling the truth. You'll die if I find out there's a penny missing, do you understand? I'm a member of the Burns family. I didn't take the money." Man laughing at her said, "What are you saying? Did you really make this much money from begging?" Poor child replied, "About that. Nobles have lots of money, so I only wanted to borrow some. Do you think I could steal just any bag?" Helena, seeing him, thinks such nonsense, but it makes a lot of sense at the same time. Poor child said, "What's this? If it weren't me, then maybe that person would have died out there." Helena thinks, indeed, the seniors will come to pay the ransom to set the child back. I know it because I went through the same thing. And Burns, as in Count Burns? Poor child says, "So, it's being paid a little at a time." Helena, seeing him, thinks, I heard that family is quite famous, but I didn't know they had a daughter. The Count also has deep blue hair. Is it an illegitimate child? Another man said, "Is this how you educate newbies?" Helena thinks, the discipline has begun. I was also hit. That kid brings back bad memories to me. Helena jumped up, grabbing the sword, and said, "Excuse me." She clenched the wallet. Man shouts, "Who are you?" Helena replied, "Me? I'm the owner of this wallet." Man shouts again, "Don't lie. Give it back to me." Helena hit his foot. Man fell to the ground and he shouted, "Arg." Helena said, "Watch your words, I'm your senior." Another man said, Captain." They ran away and man said, "What's this? It's crazy. Run now." Helena says, Guys these days don't have any nerve in them?" She thinks, except for one. Child says, "Ha?" Child clenches the stone. Helena thinks, are you going to make a move? Kids who have nowhere to turn usually fear nothing. Child shouts, "The wallet's mine. Give it back." Helena said, "How can it be yours? It's clearly mine." Child said, "I took it, so it's mine now." Helena thinks, I really can't understand that. Helena said, "About this wallet, fine. How about this? If you can hit me even just once, then the money is all yours." Child said, "Really?" Helena said, "On the other hand, if you surrender, you'll become my subordinate. What do you think?" Ha ha, Helena thinks your eyes got a bit sharper. That's what I'm talking about. Don't settle for anything else. Child said this. Helena defended herself and said, "What? Did you think that a beautiful noble lady like me couldn't do anything?" Child attacked her again and said, Hey, you didn't say you'd fight back." Helena said, "I never said I wouldn't either." Child bowed and said, "Damn it, arg," he shouts, "Wait. I was wrong. It's my fault. Please forgive me. I'm sorry for taking your wallet. I won't dare to do it again." Helena said, "Don't steal from anyone. You're from the Burns family." Child said, "I'm just an illegitimate child. I don't even know the Count's face." "What's your name?" Child replied, "It's Tara." Helena said, "Who gave you that name?" Tara said, "According to my mother who passed away, the Count gave it." Helena said, "All right. From now on, your name is Agat." Tara shouts, "Huh?" Helena said, "Did you forget? Surrender means becoming my subordinate." Agat said that, "But even so, why are you letting me come with you?" Helena thinks, "Yeah, why indeed?" Helena thinks, a long time ago, someone helped me too. Maybe it's because I desperately wanted to escape that kind of life. Helena said, "I like to collect people from the streets." She thinks I have a new servant. And she said, "My name is Agat. I'm 12 years old." Helena thinks Agat quickly learned everything, so everyone took a liking to her immediately. It's good that she adapted so fast. Agat said, "You can't tie your own shoelace." Helena said, "No, I can deal with this." Agat asked, "Your shoes are quite dusty. Please wipe it on me. You don't have to hold your own fork. I'll feed you, say ah." Helena thinks she's too obedient, that's the problem. Helena said, "Wait. Don't follow me to the practicing area." She thinks she's like a puppy. Leonard said, is it all right? Helena said, Agat will become calmer after a while. Leonard said, never mind, His Majesty is arriving soon. Helena said, Caesar? Why? Leonard said, I'm sure that Agat and His Majesty won't get along well. Helena said, no way. Helena thinks I shouldn't have ignored that bad feeling then. And that day will come, Caesar said. Leonard, Helena. Helena thinks he's totally a different person. Is this really the Caesar I met last year? Helena said, Your Majesty, how tall are you? Caesar said, let's see, I think somewhat more than 6 feet. Am I too tall? I'm just as tall as Leonard. You seem smaller? Helena thinks even his hands are gigantic. Let go of me, you giant. She said, hey, let go? Caesar said, only the teacher can treat the prince this way. Helena said, Who do you think you are? Reinold said, are you alright? Caesar said, the Duke really hasn't changed a bit, that's great. Vit. What's that? You can't trust anyone? She thinks the guest room, that Caesar claimed to be his own. Helena said, the only way to steal something valuable is by stabbing behind someone's back. Caesar said, wow, you really are something. Helena said, I've never caused any trouble and have always done it my way, isn't that right? Caesar said, I don't like it. There's nothing we can do about Leonard, but why do I have to take care of it? Helena said, precisely my point. Why does Caesar care about Agat? Prince Caesar shouts, it's of course. No, it's fine. Where have you been staring at? Helena replied, your thigh. Have you gone mad? Don't you feel embarrassed? Helena said, how can you have that kind of muscle after just a year? Is there any tip? There's no such thing. Helena said, let me touch it. My brother has muscles too, but it's… Caesar said, stop messing with me. Stop it. Agat said, lady, here's the tea break. Helena replied, thank you, Agat. Caesar said, hey, if you're done, get out. Helena and I have something important to discuss. Helena thinks, no we don't. Do you want to show me your thigh? Caesar said, I said stop it. Agat said, oh my, I'm the lady's servant. My job is to protect her from people like you, trying to seduce her with your thigh. Agat shouts, lady, he's raising his voice with me. Helena said, don't fight because of me. How annoying. She thinks I won't give up, you jerk. Even if he's big, it's hard to fight her. Helena said, let's stop here, Agat. She replied, yes, milady. Caesar shouts, what? Wait, Helena. Fine. You can touch my thigh. Helena replied, for real? Caesar said, definitely. Because we're close. She thinks I don't think we're that close. How can I decline if he already told me to do so? So stiff. It's like a rock. Did it soften up already? You're only 17 years old. I'm not like this. It really feels great, doesn't it? Oh my, our little prince has grown. Helena said, Caesar, what did you do? You'll be fine even under hardcore training, Caesar said, what's wrong? Helena replied, I should stop. Agat said, lady, let's go together. A voice inside the door said, don't follow me. Helena ran fast and said, what is this? Huh? No way, am I? Helena thinks embarrassed? I even touched it so willingly? So my hunch was right, Caesar. Why did you suddenly grow up? Helena shouts, unbelievable. Helena thinks I must take some time to adapt to this student who suddenly grew. After that, I avoided Caesar. Caesar said, hello, master. Reinold said, good morning, your majesty. Helena thinks I can't make eye contact. She raised her hand. Caesar said, Helena, look at my posture. Helena said, so clumsy, the left foot steps further, the right hand more precisely. She thinks it is also awkward to make eye contact. Prince said, so, how must I correct them? Helena thinks, never. I do not do this on purpose. Caesar said, Helena, wait, she thinks, really no. Helena went away. The maid said, lady? Helena thinks I, who am a swordsmanship master and an adult who has done everything in my past life, a close boy has grown up and kept his distance. It's the most pathetic thing of my second life. She lay on the bed and thinks it's been a few days. Helena Pereska. You're a teacher. You have to see a face to teach a sword. Helena said nah, tomorrow is somehow normal. The door knocked. Helena opened the window, and she thinks what? I can't get past this because I've lived in a previous life that the assassin came to visit. Caesar said Helena, it's me. She thinks he'd rather be an assassin. Caesar said Helena, don't go in. I came here to talk to you. Helena thinks, that child, you look like an adult again. Caesar said then, can I go in? He entered the room and said excuse me for a moment. Helena said, from now on, come through the door. Caesar replied a got or something was guarding the door, so there was no other way. Helena said so, what's up? Do we really have to talk tonight? Caesar said you avoided me during the day. She replied Caesar said, Helena, did I do anything wrong? She replied, no. Caesar said, but why are you so cold to me? Helena thinks, did he care? Helena said, I guess I've always been cold to you. Caesar said, it's different. You don't even make eye contact as if you hate me. Helena replied, no, it's just a little strange. Without seeing you, you have grown so much that you look like a different person. Caesar said, what? It's not my fault. Helena said, I just need some time to get used to it. Caesar doesn't have to worry about it. Caesar said, Helena, actually I'm anxious. I'm only here for 3 months. That means I can't spend more time with you. I think you and Leonard will forget me one day. Helena thinks I don't know what Caesar desperately needed. It's my fault. Helena thinks I'm sorry, Caesar. Don't worry, I will never throw my pupil away. Caesar said, can you swear? Helena replied, I will never avoid you again. I swear with my heart. Helena thinks I was too insensitive. Caesar is my darling disciple no matter what he looks like. Prince said, okay, that's okay. Prince lying on the bed said, I'm tired after all I have to say, I need to sleep. Helena said, I'm tired after all I have to say, I need to sleep. Helena said, okay, go get a good rest, and tomorrow. Prince said, good night. Helena said, what are you doing? Go to your room. Helena said, Caesar said, what's wrong? You slept in my room before. It's complicated to go back to my room. Helena thinks it was possible because we were young back then. Helena went away and said, okay, you sleep alone. Caesar said, where are you going? You swore not to run away, master. Helena thinks that and this are different things. What is a lovely disciple? I thought he only grew in height, but he grew as a fool. Prince Caesar said, I'm sleepy. Hurry up. Helena said, okay, I don't know. Helena and Caesar lying on the bed. Caesar said, it reminds me of the old days. Helena said, really? Prince Caesar said, yes, you were by my side even then. If I knew you wouldn't like it, Helena said, that sounds stupid. She thinks Caesar, who surprised everyone with his grown-up appearance, reassured me with his unchanging folly. I was thinking, kids have grown fast. We lean on each other again and sleep. Helena thinks with Caesar's joining, the swordsmanship class that was only me and Leonard was revitalized. Helena said, don't hesitate when attacking. Brother, don't try to use only convenient techniques. Reinold replied, okay. Helena thinks as much as I couldn't pay attention to my emotions, I concentrated on class, and besides class, whenever we met, we talked about swords. And the kids really grow up fast. Helena said both are improving rapidly, but Caesar, this guy, the pace of learning far exceeds my expectations, right? From this point on, I have to revise all the lesson plans. Helena thinks was the master in my previous life also like this? Helena said there's no other way. As a teacher, I cannot miss class. A man said, you are still busy, lady? Helena said, oh, Viscount. He said, has His Majesty's capability increased dramatically? Helena said, even if this isn't the case, it just keeps going up. Ah no. It seems like he's learned from a good teacher in the palace. Viscount said, that's according to the 9 monthly training plans you've outlined. Helena thinks it's just right to give him a training plan. Viscount said, I'm so grateful you've become his good friend. Helena said, Nand? Really? Viscount said, it's not an empty word. His Majesty is here to speak freely and laugh with his peers. Helena said, what does that mean? Helena thinks was Caesar's laugh about this rare thing? Viscount said, "Do you know what His Majesty is called in the palace?" Helena said, "What do they call him?" "They call him the Grey Wolf. They say he was the one who killed all those who came near. He trusts no one and keeps no one by his side. After nearly an assassination, he has become sharper." Helena said, "A assassination?" "Helena thinks I did not know. He never said anything like that." Viscount said, "The Imperial Palace's situation is not good right now. Please keep what I said a secret." He doesn't want to make both of them worry. Helena thinks I don't need to see. "How hard must it have been in the Imperial Palace?" Viscount said, "Nevertheless, he does not break his will to become an emperor, so he is very reassured." "All thanks to the lady?" Helena replied, "Yeah." "Me?" Viscount said, "You promised that you will make His Majesty become the emperor." At first I was concerned about self-professing to be a teacher, but it turned out that I thought oddly. "I would like to ask for your favor in the future." Helena said, "Ah." She thinks he bows his head to a child like me. Helena said, "Be Emperor Caesar." Helena thinks, regrets flooding in me as to whether I promised too hastily. I understand that Caesar is having a hard time, but I don't want to be associated with the royal family again. I just wanted to live comfortably in this life. It can't be like this. Prince Caesar opened the door and said, "Helena, why did you call me? What is that sword? Another class?" Helena said, "Yes, we will hold a special class every night from today until the day you return." Caesar said, "Only me without Leonard?" Helena clenched the swords and said, "Yes, I'm going to teach you some dirty and degrading skills that Leonard can't learn." Helena started practicing sword play with Caesar. Prince Caesar said, "What? Where's the shameful start alone?" Helena said, "What are you doing?" "I said I was going to teach you the dirty and shameful swordsmanship. I can swing the sword with your back now." Prince Caesar said, "Besides, why do you have two swords?" "Though it's not like that, soon." Helena attacked him and said, "You should call me master during class, my student." Caesar shouts, "Wait." Helena said, "No need to wait. Memorize this technique with the body rather than the description." Helena thinks I didn't learn this either. I learned it myself while I was in the mercenary corps. It's not a fight, it's a technique to scare and crush the opponent to death. It would still be overwhelming just to block it. Helena struck with her sword and Caesar's sword fell. So Helena placed her sword on his neck and said, "You are dead, Caesar." Helena thinks the thing you've never met in your life. "If you turn away in fear, you will only die, Caesar." Helena said again, and fight again. Helena attacked back and thinks it's a fact he's been following. Talented anyway. Although I am still behind in strength, now, I am not trying to teach him how to win with only swordsmanship. Helena said, "Dead again?" Helena won again against Prince Caesar. She thinks that's a good look. It contains resentment and a fighting spirit. But fighting alone cannot kill a person. Helena said, "Until the only person who can kill you is me. No, you have to be strong enough to kill me." Caesar shouts, "What are you talking about? Why did I kill Master?" Helena replied, "Only then can you survive in the Imperial Palace." She thinks, how could I have become emperor among my half-brothers? I killed them all, so I couldn't even dream of an assassination. Helena said, "Caesar, I said I'd make you emperor." She thinks I'll take responsibility for that. Caesar clenched the sword and said, "Again?" Helena thinks, "Yeah, that's it. Endure it, my darling disciple." Helena thinks the special training between the two of us continued throughout the summer, and Caesar grew day by day. Even in the midst of that, there was no sign that he was friendly with a god at all. Helena said, "Tomorrow I will add more training content." Prince Caesar said, "Here?" Helena said, "Is it better just the two of us?" Caesar replied, "The battle starts." Helena thinks Caesar was blatantly wary of Agat, and Agat said, "Lady, wait for me." Agat said, "Hey, you. Helena thinks Agat does not despair even against the prince. It's like the kid I picked up. Agat said, "Lady, I'll wipe off your sweat." Prince Caesar shouts, "Hey, get away from Helena." Agat said, "I hate him." Helena said, "You mean Caesar?" Agat said, "Yeah. I can see all the dark intentions of monopolizing the lady." Helena thinks they sound the same to each other. That's the same kind of person? Prince Caesar shouts, I hate that girl. She is trying to monopolize you. Get it quickly. Helena, taking a sip of tea, replied, I don't intend to be other people's. Agathe said, I know, but I get jealous when the three of you have fun in class. Helena thinks, have fun in class? Helena thinks when he training, she said, aim straight. Do you want to die in one shot on the battlefield? Continue. Prince replied, please, I can't. Reinold said, I can't move even a single step. Helena said, no, get up quickly. Helena thinks, it might look like that. Helena said, do you ever want to learn a sword? Agathe said, of course, I know it's nonsense. Helena replied, it's not nonsense, Agathe. Agathe replied, then, lady. Helena said, yes, I can send you to swordsmanship school if you want. Agathe replied, what? Helena said, huh? Agathe replied, it's not like that. I want to learn swords from you. Helena said, that can't be. Helena said, I have no intention of taking any more disciples. Those two are enough. Agathe said, can I observe with Master Leonard? I just learned by imitation. I will never bother you. Helena thinks she's even more upset than I thought. Helena replied, yes. She thinks, after all, when Caesar returns, we need someone to fight Leonard with. Helena's combat strength position. The difference in skill between me and Leonard is too big for him to deal with. If I teach Agathe well, I might be able to expect synergy. Helena said, let it be. Yes, I will teach you the sword while Caesar is away. Instead, if you don't catch up with Leonard within a year, you'll go to swordsmanship school. Helena Agathe said, yes. Please trust me, lady. I will work hard with the determination to die. Helena said, no, you don't have to be prepared to die. Helena thinks, wouldn't this mean that a swordsmanship school was established? This is the moment I remember my father's words that he would get caught up in something he couldn't handle. After that, the relationship between Agathe and Caesar is still the same. She said, come on, eat or go? You have to give it to me to eat. Helena thinks, during the summer, I succeeded in teaching Caesar that no matter where I attacked, he could prevent getting killed. If so, I will have fulfilled my role and responsibility. It was a bit annoying, but I was relieved. At the end of another summer, Caesar returned to his imperial palace. Helena said he was a bit careless, but he was industrious. Agathe said he leaves, which helps the lady have more free time. Helena said, indeed, Agathe. Helena thinks I must have raised the monster. You don't have to worry about it. While comfortably nurturing juniors, I am enjoying a life of idleness with my brother and Agathe. But after 5 months, all my plans were in vain. That winter a woman came in the room and said, excuse me, without notice. I am Helena Evergreen. Reinold said, why did you come to see us? Helena thinks it's like meeting you for the first time. Helena said, His Majesty Caesar has sent me. First of all, she gave the letter and said, I am forwarding this letter to you too. Helena said, Noct is supposed to be working on his next composition, so he sent me here in order to keep you informed that he would definitely run away at once if this letter was sent to another acquaintance of yours. Helena thinks if she knew it was Caesar who wrote this letter, she wouldn't even spare me a glance in the very first place. If she knew the reason for this woman's being present here was to invite us to the enthronement ceremony of Caesar, then the situation would be even worse. Several days later, Helena said, the prince is going to hold his enthronement ceremony? This winter? Isn't it supposed to be celebrated at the beginning of the year? Man said it was apparently His Highness who proposed to the Emperor that his birthday party and enthronement ceremony be celebrated at the same time. She replied, birthday? So Caesar's birthday is in winter? Man said, well, Helena, His Highness will probably burst into tears if he knows his invitation has been declined. Helena said, him anyway, we're still too young to attend such a big event, aren't we? Man said, ha ha, not because it's an irritating thing to do. Helena replied, of course it is, you got it right. I'm going to spend the whole day lazing around without being disturbed by adults. Agathe said, Kia, young lady, please play with me. Helena thinks, of course I won't, there. But if it's for the enthronement ceremony, it's no use coming all the way to that far-flung capital just to attend the Grand Prince's enthronement ceremony. Helena said, well, I'm afraid to say that we're too young to take part in such an aristocratic gathering. That's why I will say no to this invitation of the Grand Prince. Helena said, if you say so, please take a better look at your invitation letter, young lady. Helena replied, my invitation letter? Leonard said, there's nothing special in my invitation letter at all. In this letter it must be very interesting to announce my beloved teacher's special interest in the ceremony. I guess everyone will be very curious to know whose thigh you would like to touch. Don't you think so, Helena? Leonard said, Helena, what are you doing? Helena replied, I can't attend the ceremony unless I have the invitation letter, right? Helena said, His Highness told me to prepare other invitation letters, just in case such an incident happens. Helena replied, we're looking forward to attending the ceremony. Right, Leonard? Leonard said, Helena, are you serious? Helena said, of course I'm going there for sure. I just can't wait to see Caesar, obviously. It's much better to go there and kill that rascal by myself. Helena replied, what a relief to hear you say so, young lady. His Highness is really looking forward to the presence of you and young master in the ceremony. May I get to the main point first? Actually, I also prepared for your inauguration in the Grand Prince's enthronement ceremony. Since the time is running out, we've chosen some costumes that are made available for you instead of finding a designer. Please have a look at the catalog we've prepared for you and choose your favorites, Your Grace. We'll prepare the costumes based on your interests step by step. Besides, we've also arranged a list of aristocrats who will attend the ceremony this time. Please take a quick look at it and get prepared. Leonard said, what the hell is that? Helena said, according to His Highness's command, we've tried our best to provide you with the best physical and spiritual support in hope that you will leave a good impression on your inauguration ceremony. We also gained permission from the Count to do so. Helena thinks my plan all went down the drain due to Helena's presence. Maid said, may I take your size, young lady? Helena thinks while I'm being dragged into such a mess, the throne day of the Grand Prince is also coming near. Throne day, capital city. Helena's father said, Leonard, Helena, we're going to attend the Grand Prince's enthronement ceremony today. You two can go home when the main rituals have been completed. Since this is the first ceremony you've ever attended, you should observe etiquette. Behave yourself by listening more and talking less. Reinold said, I got it, father. I'll keep it in mind. Helena said, aren't we going to stay together during the ceremony, father? Her father said, there are many places your mother and I have to visit today, so we'll reunite later at our edifice. Helena thinks so. It turns out to be an aristocratic social gathering. Reinold said, shall we come in too? Helena thinks again. Pereska isn't involved in political matters at all. But he's a count anyway. As for an aristocrat, social gatherings mean a lot. Although it's just an occasion for them to gather around and have a good gossip with their acquaintances, a lot of information will be produced and transmitted through the conversations, and as a result, different factions will be established. Man said, though we're very close to the Grand Prince, we're still unable to attend the enthronement ceremony. Another replied, yeah. Helena thinks it makes sense anyway. Reinold said, can we meet His Highness for a while? Being surrounded by those involved in politics keeps him busy enough. Helena said, she thinks really? When I ascended the throne, merely no one had the guts to approach me. Well, was it because they were scared of me when realizing that I murdered my brothers for the throne? Suddenly enlightened in the second life. It's kinda sensible. Since the way I came to the throne was not normal at all. However, there's still one person. My one and only close friend in the previous life, Count Erez Grey. Prince said, may I have the pleasure of this dance, Your Highness? Helena sees him and thinks the atmosphere became a bit awkward, and I really didn't know what to do at that time. But then, he put out his hand toward me, and that literally made my day. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest for it. Of course, the situation is different now. Helena said, I definitely have to see Caesar today. Reinold said, you seem very eager to see His Highness, don't you? Helena replied, of course, it's him who drags us into such annoyance. Helena thinks above all, I'll have to kill that bastard. In the letter, it must be very interesting to announce my beloved teacher's special interest in the ceremony. I guess everyone will be very curious to know whose thigh you would like to touch. Don't you think so, Helena? Reinold said, really? Is that all? Helena said, is there another reason for it? She said, no. Reinold said, Helena, you love me the most, don't you? Helena replied, of course, my brother is always the best. Helena thinks I'm just stating the fact. There's no man more handsome and warm-hearted than Leonard, either in my previous life or this new life. Reinold said, ha, I got it, my dear sister. Helena thinks again, that's right. Before getting rid of Caesar, I'd better take the time to help my brother fall in line with other aristocrats in the party. Reinold said, that's right. Before getting rid of Caesar, I'd better take the time to help my brother fall in line with other aristocrats in the party. She replied, Helena thinks I was so fed up with parties in my previous life. I think I'll hide myself somewhere during the party as my father's wish until I'm allowed to go home. 30 minutes later, a girl dropped a glass of syrup on Helena's clothes and said, my goodness. It's my bad. She said, what should I do now? My hand felt so slippery just now. I'm afraid that you'll have to change your clothes now, young lady. Helena thinks I guess I just can't stay still like this any longer. The party has begun. Even if hundreds of years go by, the rule of the party doesn't change. People focus on the beautiful and powerful. Which means, a boy said, Princess, are you going to join our book reading session? The Duke must invest in our family's project. Duke, we've seen the swords fight last time. Helena thinks everyone's attention would be on us. Helena said, it's so great to see all of these wonderful people. Helena thinks, so annoying. Leonard's doing quite well. I can slowly sneak away now. Helena said, I apologize for interrupting the conversation. It's my first time in a place like this. I just need some rest. She thinks so you all can go away now. Caesar said, oh my, then I'll walk you to a room. A boy said, let me bring something to drink. Another said, no, come with me to a quiet place. Helena thinks, what's this all about? How awkward, I have no reason to decline them. Helena replied, no, Leonard said, excuse me, but I'll escort her. Helena said, brother. Boy said, yes, sure. Another said, okay. Helena said, phew, I'm alive. Helena said, thank you. I even planned to run away. Leonard said, yeah, I can see it just by looking. Helena, no jerks gathered around you, right? Helena said, yeah, no. Helena thinks, does the angelic brother also use words like jerks? Who did he learn that from? The person who only writes beautiful words in the piece. Is it me? Leonard said, if there are, just tell me. I'll deal with them. Helena thinks, innocent. It's my first time seeing brother this cruel. Leonard said, then, I'll get some drinks. Helena said, please come back later. She thinks. He came out and ladies gathered all around him. Per Leonard, phew, this total silence is great. I can finally be comfortable. A girl came near and said, please excuse me, princess. Helena thinks, what? Children like this usually have ill intentions. Helena said, if you're looking for my brother, come to the hall. The girl said, no, I'm looking for you, Princess Pereska. I'm Ulrika Brandt. Helena thinks if it's Brandt, then it's the Empress family, Duke Valor. There was a conflict that lasted for a long time between them and Prince Caesar. Caesar stopped that woman from becoming the Empress, and she stopped him from becoming the Crown Prince. The two of them both hold great power, so the Game of Thrones is still going on. This year, Caesar became the Crown Prince. Her relationship with Caesar can't be good. Why is she here? Helena said, do you need anything? Ulrika said, I heard that. You're close to His Majesty the Prince? Helena replied, that's right. Ulrika said, oh my. I'm sorry, lady. I didn't know how to react to silly rumors like that. Sometimes there are nobles who try to get close to him by talking. Helena said, oh my, so there really are people like that. Helena thinks, are they messing with me? A girl, taking one of them, said, well, you clearly aren't that kind of person. Of course, people from the village are always so naive. Another girl said, you don't know anything, you're as pure as snow. Helena thinks it's not like I was poisoned or stabbed, it's quite adorable. Ulrika said, but princess, I'm really worried about something. Helena replied, what is it? I really want to know. Ulrika said, seem like you catch on quite well. You spread the rumor with that rustic dress of yours. What do you think your relationship with His Majesty is? Ullica dropped a glass of syrup on Helena's clothes and said, "Oh my, how rude of me. What to do, my hands were slippery." Ullica said, "You must change now, lady. Lucky for you, I have a spare dress. I'll lend it to you, come with me." Maid replied, "Yes, take Lady Brandt's help. Helena thinks, can't bear it anymore. Of course, the spare dress will be horrible. But if I make a fuss, I'll become the shallow one." Helena said, "It's all right, lady. Your hands are all wet. You should wipe them." Helena gave her hand a jerk. The glass of syrup fell into Ullica's mouth. The girl said, "Lady Brandt." Another girl said, "What did you do, princess?" Helena said, "Oh my, how rude of me. My hands were slippery. You're a forgiving person who made mistakes. I'm sure you'll let go of this, right? You should put on your spare dress, Lady Brandt. You're lucky that there's another one, and thanks for your advice about my dress. I'll definitely deliver your words to His Majesty." Ullica said, "Shouts, huh?" Helena said, "He picked this dress out for me." Helena thinks, to be precise, Caesar's subordinate, Rowena, picked it. Helena said, "Everyone, you should be smart if you want to do bad things. Thanks for your concern with the Duke Pereska today. I'll remember it and pay you back later on. Helena thinks you're really cute with your faces all pale like this." Helena said, "So, I hope to see you again, Lady Ullica Brandt." Helena thinks this is all just childhood memories, right? But let's not meet again, you uncultured ladies. Helena Pereska. Helena cleaned the clothes and she thinks it's not clean. Helena said, "It's okay, I needn't go to the hall with this excuse." Helena thinks, by the way, what was Lady Brandt's plan? As the Brandt is closely connected with the Empress, its authority is considerable. Besides, even though he is a lord, he is deeply immersed in politics, so unlike our family, he is a powerful force. Helena said, "What advantage does a man of such a family have to quarrel with Pereska?" Ullica said, "I heard that you are close with the Crown Prince. It's such a rustic dress while spreading such rumors. Who will you be of His Majesty?" Ullica thinks, maybe because she likes Caesar? Helena said, "If that's the case, it's kinda cute. The way to express jealousy wasn't cute though. A vice His Majesty Prince Caesar Wintergrey enters." Helena replied, "The main character finally came." Helena thinks, after all, I had to go and see your face. Helena said, "It snows again. I should try it on a lot to see how old-fashioned the dress is." Helena thinks, even in my previous life, I had no interest in clothes or accessories. Before becoming emperor, I was wallowing in the streets or in battlefields, and after becoming emperor, I wore armor a lot more days. I don't have any good memories of the imperial palace. Helena said, "Somehow I miss those days." Caesar said, "I found you." Helena replied, "Caesar? Why are you here?" Prince said, "I couldn't see master, so I asked and they said you were here." Helena replied, "As my dress got dirty." Prince Caesar said, "Really? I thought it was annoying, so you were avoiding it." Helena said, "Of course. It's also." Caesar laughed and said, "Haha, indeed, Helena." Helena said, "The main character of the party, can you stay here?" Caesar said, "I came here to say hello, so it's okay for a moment." Helena thinks, when I met Caesar, I was going to punish him for the letter, but seeing him looking tired from preparing this and that, I couldn't say anything. Prince Caesar said, "I don't want to go." Helena thinks, now I can feel you became the crown prince safely, Caesar. Helena said, "So arrogant? Because you're taller than me?" Prince Caesar said, "I was originally taller than you." Helena said, "I didn't even look up like this." Caesar replied, "Yes, looking up at the disciple is unpleasant, isn't it? Now it's okay, right?" Helena said, It's too close." Caesar said, "So, what should I do, on my knees?" Helena said, "That's good." Prince said, "What?" Helena replied, "I prefer to look down, so on your knees." Caesar said, "I can't live?" "Really? Are you satisfied with this, master?" Helena said, "Perfect." She thinks if anyone sees the crown prince on his knees, they will be terrified. "But I don't think I'll ever be able to say this if we make eye contact." Helena said, "Happy 18th birthday, Caesar. Thanks for being born." Helena shouts, Say something." "I'm going to die of embarrassment," Caesar said, "Thank you. Actually, I came here to hear those words." Helena said, "If you go out to the hall, you can hear more people." Caesar replied, "It makes sense to hear from you. I was born for Helena." Helena thinks I can feel the moisture in Caesar's voice when he says that. All I could do is give him a hug. This stubborn and lonely disciple says he was born for me. Thank you for being born into this world where I am, Caesar.